And we are live. Welcome back, everybody, to Behind the Tool Belt. I'm your host, Ty Backer. Thank you for joining us on this Wednesday edition. Today, we have another special guest. Stay tuned. We will be back after our short intro from our sponsors.
TC Backer, TC Backer. Roofing, siding, windows, gutter, solar. Roofing, siding, windows, gutter, solar. TC Backer, TC Backer.
Welcome to Behind the Tool Belt, where the stories are bold, the conversations are real, and the insights come to you live, raw, and uncut. Every week, host Ty Cobb Backer sits down to bring you the stories, the struggles, the lessons learned, and the wins. No filters, no scripts, just the truth. Please welcome your host of Behind the Tool Belt, Ty Cobb Backer.
Let's go. Welcome back, everybody, to Behind the Tool Belt. I'd like to welcome everybody. We have another amazing guest today. And Vic and I were talking last night about, obviously, we've been talking a lot. We always talk a lot. Sometimes probably too much. But in this particular case, we were talking about, getting back to our roots and back to the basics of Behind the Tool Belt, where basically it started in a basement, literally garage band basement, iPhone 8, all the good stuff. And it was a lot of it was about TC Backer. And that was the birthplace of Behind the Tool Belt, was promoting windows, doors, siding, solar, gutters, right? And man, it was tough coming up with content. But the cool thing is that it engaged the entire company. The entire company was engaged with it. I mean, Tyler, Sam, everybody would watch every night. It was 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, every single Wednesday. And we haven't missed a week since then. 283 weeks ago, we started this. And there's been it's been an amazing journey. We've traveled around the country. We've taken this places that I would have never expected, invited places, when years and years and years ago, I was told not to come, not to these particular places, but the way my past history, my years ago, was kind of like people never invited me to go out with them, or I was asked to leave and things like that. Just because I was a little rowdy back in the day.
Fair enough.
So anyhow, we wanted to do a spotlight and start with Ben. And, I was thinking, it was like, I wanted to introduce you as my friend. And I wanted to ask you, like, I know it sounds like a dumb question. It's like, I know you're, a leader, you're a team member of the team. And it's like, my friend Ben, it's like, Ben, are we friends?
Yeah.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And I think, and that's a great response. And it's like, and growing more. Mm-hmm. I think as time goes on, and I know that sounded like a weird question, but it was a question I asked myself, because I'm thinking, how am I going to introduce Ben to the stage? And, do I introduce Ben as my friend? It's my friend Ben that I've known for several years now, directly, indirectly, through family members and stuff like that. And we teamed up a couple years ago, and you came onto the team and kind of worked your way up to the ranks, and kind of like the way that, we were hoping it would work out. And here you are today. And so we decided to kind of bring you in as our first, spotlight, Benji Vitamin, Catman, AKA known as Ben Catlin, everything else but that, usually when you're in the room with me.
Yeah.
And, one of the things that, if you know me and if you have a pet name or a nickname that I give you, that actually means something. I'm throwing that out there to anybody.
Yeah. Well, I know.
If you don't have a nickname, okay,
There's something wrong.
I probably don't like you. I hate to say that. So I'm sorry if there's anybody that's in this building today that doesn't have a nickname. I probably forgot. Not necessarily because I don't like you, but anybody that I see frequently, that I care for. I don't know what it is about me, but I don't know. I just grew up that way, I guess. And so anyhow, so Ben, Caitlin, welcome to the stage. Catlin. Yeah. Caitlin. I know you love that.
Got it my whole life, man.
Catman.
Right? Any of my family members that are watching right now, I apologize for Ty calling us Caitlin, but that's all right.
No doubt. I do know a Jim Caitlin, spelled with a K though. Spelled the same exact way.
Yeah.
But they spell it with a K. I know it's Catlin.
Yes. I've always been to this day, like I'll have a homeowner call and they're like, "Hey, I'm looking for a Ben Catlin." I'm like, "Oh, that's me. I'm Ben Catlin." Yes. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It's okay. It happens all the time.
Yeah. No, that's good. That's good. I'm usually pretty good at that too. But so anyhow, welcome to the stage. I know you've been on here a couple of times. Usually I think around home show
stuff.
Yeah. And I always enjoy our conversations. And I know you study leadership, just as much as I do. And I thought, why not get Ben on the show here? And for those of you that may not know Ben, we're going to probably dig back into, who Ben was and what has made him who Ben is today. And like what has become like your moral fiber today. Like things happen to us, whether it's careers or I don't know, family situations. Obviously people take it as deep as they want and we'll start there and then we'll kind of just dig into, where we're at today, what it was like, how you got here and kind of like what it's like now. And so Ben, the stage is yours, man. Give us
try to fit it in 45 minutes or so.
Yeah.
Trying to make this too bad, but no, so I'm technically a transplant. I know we're here in York, Pennsylvania. I did not grow up here. I'm not from here. I grew up in Michigan. I'm technically a Texan. I was born in Texas. My dad, when I was born, was in the military, and I was born in Fort Hood, Texas, or around Fort Hood, Texas. And then when I think it was 1.5, 2 years old, we moved up to Michigan. I lived in Michigan all the way through college. Predominantly in the farm area, central Michigan. That's where I grew up. That's where my family's from. Both my mom and my dad families are from central Michigan, that area. And then dad got a different job or a promotion with his job. And we moved down to Metro Detroit. And that was when I was in, I guess, 11 years old or so. So first 10 years, backwoods, redneck stuff, good old boy stuff, if you will, with a Canadian accent, basically. Because I've been told quite a few times my years living here in Pennsylvania that I have a distinct accent, and people usually think that it's Canadian, but it's not. It's just Michigan. It's just Michigander. But and then growing up was really into sports, really into music. My dad's side of the family, I have 3 uncles and my dad and my grandfather. They played country music on the weekends. I think that's what I've been told. That's how my uncles and my dad made their allowance money. Is they would go play either local VFW halls or things like that and play a couple hours country music type thing. So that's always been like within grasp for me, always. And from a musical standpoint, I can distinctly remember my first favorite song. My first favorite artist was Johnny Cash, Folsom Prison Blues. That's
nice.
And my dad had the record, but I remember in the mornings before school, waking up before mom and dad, because I'm an early riser, used to be anyway, was an early riser, and I would get, yelled at to quiet down. So I would quiet myself down by turning on the Johnny Cash record and playing that. And then something happened to me musically wise that just opened up the entire universe for me as far as musically goes. And it was actually when the first time I ever heard Nirvana's Smells Like Teen Spirit. That the intro, the drums, the dirty sounding guitars, like that that was the first time I heard that, and the rhythm and everything. And it was like, it just opened up an entire universe for me. And then from there you get other influential bands and songs, or like first time I ever heard Green Day, When I Come Around, like that rhythm with everything. Punk rock, you know, and then that led into other bands like Third Eye Blind, when like their first couple albums was like really influential to me. It's more of on the pop side, but it was still influential, and like stuff that I like the sound of it. And then, you know, with my country roots too, I like guys like Alan Jackson. That I could name off a whole bunch of like old country.
The old school stuff. New country's not the same.
It's basically rock these days. But at any rate, so music was really a big, and still is a huge part. Same. I mean, I think that's my language. Like if I want to, if we can have a conversation about music, like what your favorite bands are, like, I think that, and I tell you like what my favorite bands are, like, it just, some reason it just makes it easier for me anyway, of like having that interpersonal relationship is just music, you know, always has been that way.
It's an international language.
Yeah, it really is.
It helps connect and bring people together for sure.
Yeah. That's always like, I joke, but like when you're trying to figure out how to be a professional salesperson and you don't know what questions to ask when you first meet somebody, I always found that, and it was a joking manner. We were like, so, you like music? Who's going to say, no, I don't like music?
Right.
Like no one's going to say that. Right. So, but yeah, I was really into music. In high school was in, we made our own punk rock band. We did covers of punk rock stuff. We wrote our own stuff. We had a very brief little nuance where we played like the high school talent show and everyone thought we were rock stars, but we really weren't. We just had like one song, but it was a good time.
Yeah, it's fun.
A little bit of fun with that. And then going back to the other side of me too is sports. Sports are just a huge background. My first like love of sport was actually baseball. I remember playing t-ball, and my first coach was my dad, and then also my grandfather too taught me how to throw a baseball properly. Huge thing. And then my dad would teach me how to swing a baseball bat, and then my grandpa would also teach me how to properly swing a baseball bat. And then so there's that. And then grew into, of all the sports I played, I think I was the best at football. And I didn't start playing football until I was 9 years old, I believe. In today's day and age, I think that's late, because I think they're letting kids play football at a younger age than that. But at the time, with the little town that we grew up in, of Elma, Michigan, it was like 9U was like the earliest you could start football. And my first coach was actually my uncle, and my family's huge, huge part, cornerstone of my life. My uncles and aunts are surrogate mothers and fathers. My cousins are brothers and sisters. My grandfathers and my grandmothers were basically surrogate mothers and fathers to me as well, as far as that goes. And it helped that we were all sort of pretty close, as far as proximity area wise. So it just made sense that my Uncle Kevin, my cousin Alex's dad, was our first football coach. And he taught us how to play football the way that we taught we should play football. And we're obviously, just by looking at me, I wasn't a skinny kid or a fast kid. I was one of the big uglies that was in the trenches hitting somebody every single play. And what I loved about the sport was, I didn't know if you knew this about football, but you can hit somebody as hard as you can and you don't get in trouble for it. I found that fascinating. I loved it. So that was basically a huge internal like stepping pad for me of like, hey, I can hit somebody and not get in trouble for it. In fact, everyone's applauding me and screaming, good job, because I hit somebody really hard. Like, this is awesome. Like, let's do this again. Let's do this more. So there's that. But my favorite sport is ice hockey. So I love hockey, and that probably just because I grew up in Detroit in the, mid to late 90s through early 2000s. And the professional hockey, the only good professional team we had in the city of Detroit was the Detroit Red Wings. So all those guys, I could go on for hours about that, but huge fan of ice hockey just in general. So, talk about the music, talk about that. And then how did I get into sales? I'm glad you asked.
Yeah.
How did I get into sales?
Yeah. How did you get into sales?
So long story.
That was my next question.
Yeah. I know.
Yeah.
So I got into sales, believe it or not. And cars are another huge thing of just being.
Well, let's rewind. Did the sales thing happen in Detroit or after you moved?
It happened when I moved. It happened I guess the beginning parts of selling happened when I was in college, believe it or not. And I remember I was in a creative writing class in college because I really didn't apply myself very well in high school. So I had to take like the remedial classes. I knew I was a salesman when I talked myself into the college I ended up going to. So I didn't have the grades, honestly. So I had no right of going to the college that I went to at Alma College. Is a very prestigious, very smart, academically enriched school. I had no right going to that school. I found someone I could talk to that was on the administrative side of things, the admission side of things, and I literally talked myself into the college.
Right.
So
that was over in Michigan. Okay.
And then creative writing class, we had to, because I like music so much, I really wanted to be either a lawyer or I wanted to be a music executive, because I was like, I don't have the talent to actually be like a musician, or I want to be a producer or something behind the scenes.
Yep.
So I really want to do that. Creative writing, we had to do an actual research project. And one of my history teachers in high school, he was actually roommates with a guy that was a music executive at a actual record company in Los Angeles. And I circled back to my history teacher from high school, and he goes, "Don't mess this up." But he said that you could call him. Here's his phone number. Just don't mess it up. So I talked to him, and then I had to make this whole research project. And in that, I did a whole sales presentation on wanting to be a music executive. Everybody else was just like, and then I remember my professor, she's going, I think you're going to be a salesman. I'm like, I don't want to be a salesman, because no one wants to be a salesman.
Yeah. It sounds, I think the interpretation that we perceived over sales person, I think it always, I don't know. People.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's always that negative connotation with being a salesperson.
That's what I was looking for. Yes.
They say, oh, license to steal or whatever that is. But you have the mindset of, if you detach from the whole situation and live in the idea that every person on this planet, whether they recognize it or not, is it truly a salesperson, whether it's a salesperson of yourself.
Yeah.
Like I could be a roofer. I could be legitimately on the production crew. I'm a salesman in some capacity because I have to sell myself to my other guys on the crew.
Team. Yeah. Right, exactly. Homeowners, whatever.
Yep.
Yeah. Your wife.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the other thing too. Yeah. You just like, it's I guess the sooner you recognize it.
Well, and even, okay, so we had somebody fill out an application today. Okay. Well, what do you think he was doing when he was out there during his interview? His first interview was with Tam. What do you think he was doing? I mean, he's applying for a non-sales position, but he came in here to sell himself. I mean, so I agree. And to solidify your fact is that, at some point in time throughout the course of our lives, we're selling ourselves, we're selling other people. It could be at the post office, could be at the grocery store, could be negotiating over a parking spot. You're selling something.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Yep. So, but I made the professional leap when I graduated from college.
Mm-hmm.
And I had this big fancy piece of paper that says that I was really smart,
Mm-hmm.
and I couldn't find a job to save my life because this happened during the Great Repression, or whatever we're calling, whatever it's called.
Recession.
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, it's good.
Recession
Mm-hmm.
of 2008, 2009 type thing.
Yeah.
So imagine me being in the middle of nowhere in Michigan,
Yeah.
with a fancy piece of paper that I got saying I was smart, and thinking, oh yeah, I got this piece of paper. I'm going to do everything now. I went from the school of thought to the school of hard knocks.
Mm-hmm.
So, truthfully, mom and dad moved from Michigan to Pennsylvania because mom's a very, 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 very professional accountant, controller. She worked for Kellogg's, and they have a Pop-Tart factory in Muncie.
Okay.
So that's where that. And then I had to do at age 23, moved back in with mom and dad for a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And then dad was selling cars for a big group up there, and got me an interview. And then I sold myself to the sales manager, and he hired me. And then I started selling Nissans, believe it or not, for 2.5 years. And then I sold BMWs here in York for a little bit. And then I spent a bulk of my car sales career up in Mechanicsburg at Sun Motor Cars Group. I sold Audis, and that's where I really became professional. That's the big leagues.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's a difference between just being a car salesman type thing. Like, you really have to dig deep and work on your interpersonal.
Yeah. Where you
skills.
go from sales to actually catering to people's needs and wants.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing. Want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Big difference between sales and catering to needs and wants. Yeah.
And which was really, like, when I reflect on like what we're trying to do here as a company too, it really parallels on trying to maximize the most of what we have at our disposal as a company, of creating the best customer experience we possibly can. And that's ultimately what I learned. Like, shout outs as far as that goes, go to guys like John Yetter. I don't know if he's watching. I don't know if he's going to watch this, but he's paramount in the development of the true personal, professional sales experience that he taught me, and I grew beyond that. But he was the launch pad of developing what I am professionally today is that onus to John as far as that goes.
Cool.
So,
cool.
And then basically, long story short, started making a family, and car industry, being in car sales, hours are very long.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't want it to be a situation where I didn't recognize and my kids didn't know me. So I made the switch from cars to construction, roofing, and haven't looked back since. I love it. It's great, especially what we do, because what we do as a company, we're roofers, right?
Mm-hmm.
But we do gutters, we do windows, we do doors, we do solar. If you want to do solar, we do siding. We'll build you a deck if you want us to. So that makes it, for me, in my ADHD brain, that makes it really fun because it's something new every day. Like, and when the guys, what's the position I'm at now, the dichotomy of our company, where I'm at now for your team, is I get to sit with the guys on all the stuff. Like, it's not just my stuff. I get to help the guys out with all the stuff. And then I can also use my experience on, like, the lessons learned. Like, I messed this one up a couple of years ago. Hey, make sure we don't say this, or hey, make sure we're looking at these parts of the house to make sure that we're going to get it set off on the right foot. Like, so it's little learning experiences. Again, school of hard knocks.
Yeah.
But if you win more than you lose, then you're pretty good, I think.
No doubt.
So, no one's perfect.
No, it's great. It's great. And you shared with us a lot of things that I didn't. I mean, I've heard bits and pieces. You talk about Michigan, you love the Red Wings and hockey and football and stuff like that. But I don't think I've ever heard the full story or you mentioned it the way that you did. And it's kind of cool because I talked about moral fiber right? And listening to you basically in your development,
Yeah.
right? Family, music, which is huge influence on me as well. And who I hung out with and who helped design my character, right? Like listening to Kurt Cobain, that Seattle sound,
Yeah,
right?
the grunge, yeah.
During the 90s like era. That was my biggest thing. And getting back in, family, you were very, very family oriented, your uncle coaching you football and your dad at T-ball and, things like that. And that's pretty nifty. A lot of people can't say that, you know what I mean? Especially nowadays with, single parents and things like that. So that's cool. And then your journey through college and then into sales and overcoming the adversities of the Great Recession and pivoted over into sales and made a living out of that and was mentored by the gentleman that you mentioned earlier. And now where you're at today, you have the opportunity to pass on what has been so freely given to you. And that's really the moral fiber of TC Backer, right? Is giving back, right? What we are teaching ourselves on a day-to-day basis. Like I said earlier, I know you're a student of leadership and continuously trying to push yourself and elevate yourself and educate yourself in order to educate other people. And then the great thing about this is we're not an Anderson window where it's, we're in your home for 3 hours until you sign and getting ready. There's no hard close. We're in the retail space.
God, please no.
Yeah.
Please no.
Right. So, being in the retail space, people are we're sought after, right? So people are seeking us out. And that's what's really cool about what it is that we do. So obviously there's a need there. So we get to go out and service their needs and provide them value and walk them through this journey that in most cases, when it comes to construction, isn't a very pleasant experience. And I think that's a lot of homeowners' hesitation about calling, especially a roofing contractor or any type of, exterior construction, just as much as salesperson, like, oh my God, a roofer, right? There's a stigma around that. And what we're really trying to do is improve the industry as a whole. But more importantly, it starts here about what we're doing, right? Yep. We're trying to lead by example and be the pioneers and trailblazers. And, we had an amazing meeting last 3 weeks.
Yeah.
We've had an amazing meeting about, overcoming objections out in the field, right? Not overcoming objections with homeowners, even though that's something I'm sure that you review with your team on a day-to-day basis. But more importantly, it was like, when things go bad, how are we going to handle them? Right. And we don't want our team responding out of fear outside of a healthy fear, right? There won't be any unhealthy fear that they should be struggling from. It should be a healthy fear of like, okay, we need to take care of this issue. We stumbled across what was the gutter guard that was on the house. What was that?
It was gutter helmet,
something like that. Yeah. Right. Which is the worst product out on the market anyhow. But, okay, shit, they got it. What are we going to do? We have to take it off in order to get our drip edge on instead of everybody panicking. So we came up with a resolution of like, what's the process? What's our SOP?
Yeah.
To handle the situation. Salesperson didn't mess up. Homeowner didn't mess up. Production, ops, nobody messed up. It's just
got to get this done.
We just stumbled across this situation. It's like, okay, once we take it off, it's going to run. Okay, cool. Replace it with lifetime warranty stuff that we provide workmanship and manufacturer warranty on. Win-win for everybody. Now they get free gutters cleaned out, right? New gutter guards. Cool. No problem. No harm, no foul. And that's our approach.
Yes.
To not like, let's see how we can reinstall this damaged gutter helmet that we just destroyed taking off. It's like, no, that was like the furthest thing from our mind. Yeah. So to have that type of mindset compared to the sleazeball roofing contractor, salesperson, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, and I can't remember.
Snake oil salesman.
Yeah, snake. I did some research on the actual word sales. And man, we were at Hunter's office and I did, the word sales means help. And I don't know if it's old English or old Latin.
I think it's Latin.
If you look it up, sales actually means give and help somebody. And somewhere along the the decades and generations and in terms of the century, the word sales has just become not a very flavorful choice of words when we put it on our business card. I mean, to the point where I think we were trying to like figure out how else can we come up with
Call them anything but a sales
rep,
whatever.
salesperson, saleswoman. It's like we try to get away with it, but unfortunately it is what it is, but you called us and how can we make this a pleasurable journey? Right. And it's like every day we're continuously trying to work on improving the customer's experience and journey.
Yeah.
And that's what's really cool because we have control over it. We can go with the status quo and handle everybody the same way everybody else is handling things and getting online and talking shit about how much better we are. And, we don't do it like so-and-so down the street. It's like, okay, no, we're just going to allow our actions to speak louder than our words. We're not here to make any other roofing contractor look bad. And we're sure as hell not going to preach it from the rooftops of, how much worse they are than us, because ultimately at the end of the day, they have the same exact resources, tools, products as we do.
Yep.
Right. So how are we going to differentiate ourselves from everyone else when everyone else basically has the same tools and resources as we do?
Yep. We prioritize what's important to that individual homeowner. We create center focused on that particular homeowner. That's what sets us apart. We go into every meeting, whether it's an appointment set weeks in advance or just a couple days in advance, and we cater to understanding, because how can you help somebody if you don't truly understand what the problem is? Mm-hmm. That's what we're trying to do here. Like, and there are plenty of instances where maybe we just can't help out that particular homeowner. Mm-hmm. Well, guess what? We got some people that we know that we can give you, we can help you out with at least establishing that relationship with someone else that could help you with what you're experiencing on your house. Like that's us. That's what we do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's great. I love this topic. I love this subject. I love our company. I love our team. And, that's the thing too. We talk about, team members and co-leaders and things like that. And it's like, I was told a long time ago that the fish always stinks at the head first. Mm-hmm. Right. And that has stuck with me. I was in a meeting with somebody and unfortunately it wasn't about me. I just got to witness and experience a situation where that particular comment was brought up in that conversation. And it has always stuck with me to make sure that, and I'm not saying I've never put myself in a situation where the head started to stink. But through trials and errors and things like that, you just try to, improve upon, but, allowing you guys to make decisions, right. And giving you that type of empowerment. And I came up with something a while ago. And I'm sure I heard it someplace along the way, but, basically it's like, stop telling them what to think, but encourage them how to think. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean? And that's just my job today, is to kind of like be that guide. Like this morning in that meeting, it was like, I was asking questions, not because I was trying to poke holes in anything. I was asking questions because I wanted to hear you guys come up with the solution.
Work through it ourselves.
Yeah. Work through it. That's why, we kept flipping it back to like, all right, next week, I want to see you guys work on these things, because what that does is that empowers everybody. Now they're making decisions on how the KPI should be designed, right? They're making the decisions on how the SOPs will be put in place for those future people that come into the company. Yeah. Right. And we've already talked about like Jeremy needing an assistant, and it's like everybody by that form of clear communication and very transparent and calling each other out on like, okay, yeah, the salespeople shouldn't be doing this anymore because they suck at it. And really it should be production because they're already there, or whatever, however the conversation went, you know what I mean? And production sucks sometimes too, but there's always there's a bridge that we need to gap. And you're not the gap, by the way. I was telling Ben this morning that he was the gap and not the bridge. You were actually the bridge. Okay. To gap, the communication from there to over there. And that's where I think a lot of people, there's a miscommunication. It's like, yes, we want that competitive spirit. We want that healthy competition amongst you guys and in your group. We love that. We need that. And it's like, how many jobs can you sell to make the production team stumble?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And vice versa. It's like, all right, come on, guys, you guys aren't selling enough. Like this is easy over here. Then it's like, we're trying to create a good problem.
Yeah.
Essentially is what we're trying to do. But we need that clear communication. And we were talking about earlier before we got on here was leadership capital.
Yes.
Okay. And where my head goes when I hear that phrase, leadership capital, not only is it like a trust bank where over time of being consistent, you start to build up trust. I also look at it in terms of when to use the authority and when not to use the authority. Like, do I want to burn my capital up on some useless stuff where I'm scolding people?
Yep.
Or do I pick and choose my battles wisely enough? Because then when I do draw that line in the sand, they know I mean business.
Yep.
You
Exactly. That's a pivotal thing. There's in that I played football all the way through college, and I always recognized, especially when I was one of the young guys on the team, the actual leaders were not only our best players, but they're also the guys and that wasn't always the case, but usually like your best players, like just so happens to be one of the
good leader.
Team.
Yeah, right.
What I didn't understand, what I could not stand, to be honest with you, was the one that was the super rah one.
Mm-hmm.
No, I pay more attention to the dude that would actually help the guys that are under him.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why that guy is helping the guys under him is because what if he hurts himself? What if he tears his ACL in the game? What then? Are we okay with just packing it up and hope we win this game, or we quit, we're done?
Mm-hmm.
No. Next man up.
Yeah.
And with that capital, I always paid attention to, and in these later years and the most recent years, I've really become a huge student of just trying to grow the leadership and influence of confidence from you so that I can instill the same stuff for the people that I'm supposed to be helping out, so that they can do their job and they can feed their families type thing. I'm trying to teach them to fish, not just give them a fish. I'm trying to teach them to fish. The thing is, like what you're honing in on was basically we're trying to teach people to fish.
Yeah. Right.
I'm trying to teach you how to think, not what to say.
Yeah. Right.
Like,
yeah. Think on your own.
Yeah.
Right. Make mistakes. We need people. We haven't talked about this for a while, but I mean, this morning we did in our meeting, but like we need people to make mistakes, hopefully not very costly mistakes. And we talked about like the errors that we've made over the years and the safeguards that and guide rails that we try to put in place. But sometimes we hop over those guide rails and things happen. But it's how we deal with them. You know, if everyone's terrified that they're going to get in trouble or they're going to lose their job or they're going to get fired from either making a mistake or thinking outside the box and bringing ideas to the table. And if you can't make it a collaborative meeting, right, and allow everybody to participate in it and give feedback, if it's just one way, so now you're taking away the empowerment. Now nothing happens. Now there's a bottleneck. Everybody is waiting for the information to come from the top down.
Yeah.
Okay. And there are times that it needs to come from the top down, but it also needs to come from the bottom up.
Yeah.
And who knows better than those on the front lines, right? And that's why I'm enjoying this meeting too, that we're having, because for multiple reasons. One, because it's kind of like, you know, helping people open their eyes, like, oh shit, I do have other resources. I don't have to take on this all by myself.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And we're kind of watching Lauren come into her space here. Like, oh, I do have other people here that I can flip that on and put a barrier between me and.
I think it's what you said yesterday, actually, in the global meeting was delegation.
Yeah.
Like, it's okay to delegate. nobody is going to call you lazy because you're delegating certain things, because you have to prioritize what's important, what you have to execute on a daily basis or a minute by minute basis when you're Lauren. Like that's serious. Must be nice to, I know that when you're talking about some stuff, I'm sure I'm not going to talk for her, but like I was thinking in the back of my head, man, it must be nice to have a day by day prioritizing it. Mine's literally minute by minute or hour by hour to be realistic. Like hour by hour, I have to execute this. Okay, what has to be done first? Okay, cool. Make this phone call, send this email, sit with this salesperson to make sure that they're good with this homeowner this afternoon. Like it doesn't matter, but mine's hour by hour as far as that goes with what we have to do. And it's even worse for other folks in other positions in the company or on the team, like Lauren. And I agree with you. I feel that we are accomplishing a lot in a small amount of time with just getting face to face in the same room on a weekly basis. I'm excited for it.
And I'm glad you guys are having your meeting, bridging that gap. Right. Keeping that line of communication open and creating those relationships.
I was actually just trying to figure out how we could segue into what we want to talk about.
Yeah, exactly. And I just want to add one thing to that. One of the things that I'm enjoying about being with you and getting closer to you, kind of going back to like developing our relationship and really galvanizing that, is that I get the opportunity. What good is the knowledge that I have if I'm just behind closed doors all day? And you're upstairs. And I've been kicking myself in the ass for several months, probably. And Vic and I have talked about this for a long time. It's been over months where I've been just so over inundated, right, with other stuff. Okay. And one of my New Year's resolutions my only New Year's resolution is to remove things. Most people set goals and they're piling and stacking all kinds of shit, and it just becomes a bunch of broken promises and wonder why your fucking self-esteem's all screwed up. Well, this year I elected to remove people, places, things, and situations in order to, filter in and be around certain people, places, things, and situations that are conducive to my health, my wealth, and my spirituality. Right. And it's been a slow go, right? So I can get back to the golden hen, right? That has laid some golden eggs that tend to distract me. And I know I'm kind of going off on a little tangent here, but this is me.
I don't believe it.
This is me just trying to unpack a bunch of things too. And that's one good thing about this podcast, is that it's allowed me to unpack a bunch of stuff. And, and this is a part of my leadership experience, my leadership journey, of me continuously trying to work on me in order to accommodate and not to try to bite off more than I can chew, thinking that I can accommodate everything at one time. And this has just been my most recent experiences, is like, dude, what you got to get back to, like what you were telling yourself, December 31st, with your New Year's resolution, man, that you kept adding shit in there, kept throwing stuff on top of the pile. And it's like, no, dude, you got to start peeling some of the stuff away. So anyhow, I'm enjoying spending more time with you and Lauren and Zach and Glenn and those people. And we plan on doing some other areas too, that, where I feel like I'm nurturing the golden goose again, but it goes back to some of my relationships early on, like Glenn and I's relationship isn't what it used to be. We were pretty tight. And, Lauren and I were pretty tight when she first started here. Her first 6 months, and we talk about this probably longer, her first 12 months, she rode shotgun literally in my truck with me every single day of the week. I mean, I don't know what other way to create and develop an amazing relationship. And not that we still don't love each other, but we have grown. I have grown away, from those relationships that at one point in time where I could look at her and tell her exactly what was wrong. Yeah. But now it's kind of like I've kind of grown away from that. And I'm really trying to get myself back into the relationship building of people that I enjoy being around.
Yeah.
and that bring joy that is conducive to my mental state. You know what I mean? And that's what our Wednesday pros and ops meeting has really done for me. Just so you know that, like, I'm, and seeing Amanda's face in there today, taking notes and stuff, has brought a lot of joy to me. I look forward to it this morning. It's
cool. So, like, basically, I think what we wanted to talk about was leadership capital and then the power of the relationship. I think, and with that, the just notes of, like, leadership requires relationships, good relationships with people above you, below you, beside you, in the quote unquote trenches, the next man or woman on each side of you, that relationship that you have with them. And it's critical for a strong team. So the concept is, the better the relationship, the more open and effective communication there is. And you said it quite a lot, and I have to agree 100% that communication is the biggest thing that we have as humans between each other. We can actually talk to each other. But anyway, so the more effective the communication is, and then from that, it steamrolls and grows to the more communication there is, the stronger the team will be. So it's literally the circle of life. As far as, like, how, if you were to ask me, Ben, how do I strengthen the sales team? We gotta create relationships with each other. We just have to. We can't just be, I'm a guy that shows up 2 hours a week, 2 hours a week in the office.
Right.
And then that's it. Like, no, we gotta spend that time. We got to ask each other the questions of, like, hey, how do you know how many feet of valley we've got how many rolls of ice and water should we got to put in a house if there's like 30 feet of valley? Like, oh, cool, man. Yeah. Go just talk shop. And that start with talking shop, and then start talking about yourself personally, and then start talking about what you like and what you don't like. And then if you're like me, then you start making fun of each other. And then next thing you know, you actually have a relationship. And then with spawning off that, you start actually communicating well with that individual and this individual and that individual. And you got yourself a nice dichotomy of communication. And then next thing you know, you're a very strong team. Like, instead of one person that's good at doing everything, everybody in the room is now good at doing the stuff because we're communicating. We've established those relationships. We've galvanized ourselves from within, basically. So that's my idea. And that's what I'm trying to accomplish, so that, that's what I'm trying to accomplish with our team here in Pennsylvania with the sales team. And also being able to, maybe it's a superpower of mine, but being able to detach and see something from a different perspective, just very briefly, not saying that I see all the stuff, but just very briefly seeing that. And then that seeing the tea leaves, so to say, so we can maybe do a slight pivot, not us about facing all the way. It's just a slight pivot so that we can adjust, because that's the other thing too about all this stuff is, in us building our relationships and communicating everything, we also still have to be open, and we cannot stop learning new things. We have to keep an open mind with everything.
For sure.
That's how you win.
Yeah. Yeah. And a lot of what you're talking about is trust.
Yeah.
Yes. Developing trust, staying consistent, like you said earlier, not only being here for 2 hours, that's not very consistent.
Nope.
And there's no way of being able to build trust and them even knowing who they should report to. Right. And we experienced that here too, for a brief minute, where it was kind of like, the teams were split up, and then, whatever. And it's, being able to pivot, because ultimately at the end of the day, I believe everybody trusted us enough. We were able to build up enough leadership capital, for you to stick around, for Brian to stick around, for the team under you guys to stick around until we decided or made a decision of, like, okay, which direction are we going now? Because we have approached another growth spurt.
Yep.
So what do we need to do here? And with that, because of the trust, the team was able to adapt quickly, make changes, and we have to, because markets change, market conditions change, buyers' behaviors, all types of things change. And without that open line of communication. We can't pivot quickly.
Yeah.
Right. If everyone is, and this goes back to decentralized command, like if everybody's kind of waiting on me necessarily to make a decision, and I'm not saying that I'm perfect about this. I'm still studying. I'm still like, I started to write a book, 12 steps to leadership. And the problem with that is that I'm still learning.
Yeah.
That's why it hasn't been published yet. You know what I mean? With everything that I've documented and put down and wrote, it's continuously evolving, right? Because it's like the more that I realize about myself, you know, my perception of things, of how I used to think and how I used to handle situations is totally different, even just a couple months ago.
Yeah.
Like I'm hearing things differently and interpreting them.
And I think, not to take words out of your mouth, but what I think you're trying to say is you're keeping that open mind. You're not done learning. Nobody's done learning.
Right.
The day that you're done learning is the day that you die, basically.
Yeah.
That's the way I look at it.
For sure.
Like there's no other way around that. Like we need to, as people, you as a person, me as a person, Vic over here as a person, we all have to stay open-minded.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know everything.
Right.
We don't.
Exactly.
You know,
no, we don't. And I understand, you know, people, being decisive versus being indecisive. And again, this is that trust bank that we talk about, and that capital that we gain, mm-hmm. you know, where there are times that we can be indecisive when we're very decisive. Hopefully majority of the time outweighs the indecisiveness.
Yeah.
You know, and that's where that trust in the communication comes in. Like when you're MIA and you're not available and people can't contact you and they don't know which direction to go because it's a pretty important decision that needs to be made. But once you are learning just as much from your team as that they've learned from you, that's true, authentic culture.
Yep. Yes. Like they know what my call would be. So what's the point in calling me?
Absolutely.
They already know what my call is going to be.
Right.
They're just going to do it.
Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly. And if I'm MIA, that relationship could never be forged or developed by being inconsistent.
Exactly. If you're not consistent with being present, not consistent with your yearning or wanting to learn so you can execute and establish yourself within the team and what we have to do, you know, what's the point?
Exactly.
Yeah.
No, this is such a great conversation. I feel like we might have wanted to start with that because
probably
that's okay. We could, this won't be the last time that you come on the show, but you know, and that's the thing. It starts with personal development. It starts with, you know, taking your experiences that you were discussing earlier today, your family, your bonds, how you want to be treated, you know, is the way you want to treat other people. You know, all of those things that have defined us, right? Not because of our behaviors, right? I don't want to say our behaviors necessarily define us. It's the things that we have learned from things that have happened to us and the way that we may have behaved poorly or good, that truly define us, right? Just because I made a mistake, right? I made a bad call. I wasn't available today. Doesn't necessarily mean that's who I am, mm-hmm. right? And having empathy, right? Both parties, myself, you for me for you, goes a long ways too in keeping an open mind and trying to figure out what can we learn from this? Why is this happening for us and not to us? We talked about that a little bit this morning in our meeting, and taking that, right, and learning from it. It's like, okay, unfortunately, there's a big gap there that needs filled. We need to create another SOP. And we've been on this SOP kick for a long time, but you know, an SOP is not just a system operational procedure. It is the standard.
Yeah.
Right. And you know, my only regret at this point in time in my career is that, you know, the standard wasn't set long ago enough.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
You know, you have to take it easy on yourself too, because everybody starts learning something at a particular point in time for a reason. That's what I believe anyway. Mm-hmm. Like something clicks, something out of nowhere, you'll give a little bit of attention to, and then you grow off of that. So you can't kick yourself on that.
No doubt.
But yeah, I mean, I'm in the game with you. I'm all for it.
No
like
doubt.
we need to, as daunting as the task can be, to create from scratch another SOP about this from start to finish. That's fine. Like we'll figure it out. Like we'll get it done.
And
But
what's cool is we don't have to do it by ourselves.
yeah, that's the absolutely fortunate thing, because I think I'm very fortunate for that. The people that we talk about very briefly on this podcast from time to time, but yeah, there are so many people that actually do the work. For me, like it's astonishing, like how effective and efficient other people are at me versus me trying to, a monkey with 2 fingers and a keyboard. Like, good luck getting that done sometime soon. So
yeah,
it's awesome.
I feel that. I feel that. Well, cool. Where are we at? About 56 minutes into this. Is there anything that you want to leave us with real quick? If not, that's cool too. Just want to give a big shout out, to our entire team. I can't say that enough. And I think what we're going to do here randomly is we're going to pull names out of a hat. We're going to put every team member's name into a hat. And I'm not going to say once a month, but seldom. We're going to pull a name out of a hat, and whether they like it or not, we may end up in their office or on their job site.
The microphone.
Yeah. And do a podcast.
Do you see that show? It's like a Between Two Ferns, where it's set up like supposed to be a serious interview, one-on-one interview, and it just always turns into it not being real at all. But it's stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's like I'm here in your office and I'm not going away, so you might as well reluctantly answer my questions.
That's right.
I'm not going anywhere.
That's what we're doing. Hopefully the majority of everybody will want to come on the show, but we want to do a highlight of everybody who has watched this. Everybody has watched this. I mean, we're coming up on 5 years of doing this, right? And we couldn't do this without them. And like I said, we're getting back to our roots, going back to basics on a lot of these things. Some of this stuff I'll be solo. Sometimes we got a great guest coming on next week. And if you're in sales, you're going to want to watch this one next week. This is, what's his name? Shy Ellis. Otis. Yeah. And what's the name of his company?
It is. Want me to play the
promo? Let's play the promo here real quick.
Segue.
Yeah.
Join Ty next week when he welcomes Shy Otis. He's the founder of One Call Close Academy and author of In-Home Sales, a bestseller that's changing the game for sales pros everywhere. Next week on Behind the Tool Belt.
Yeah. So super excited. Vic lined this one up. I don't know this guy from a can of spray paint. So I'm going into this not blind. I'll have to
do a little recon.
Yeah, do some recon, and that way I can come up with some good questions. So by me putting that out there, if anybody, do some research. Vic's going to be running this promo about this gentleman who's kind enough to come on this podcast. Obviously, he must see some value in it, or else I'm sure he wouldn't want to come on. But he does want to come on the show. So put some questions, either message me through Facebook. If you got my cell number, text message me. But Ben, get with your team. And put together some questions.
Get some questions to ask him.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
Yeah. Get me some questions. And I'm sure he's going to want to answer them, all of them, especially if it's our own team that's asking him those questions. But Ben, thank you for everything that you do.
Yeah. Thanks.
Thank you for coming on the show at the last minute. We kind of decided this, even though I have some good stuff that I've been writing down, and some of it's from the book that I've been working on. I kind of let the cat out of the bag officially right now. Yeah. It'll come out. I don't want to just throw shit on the wall and see what sticks. I want to make sure that 10 years from now, when I review or read the book, that I still stand by those thoughts, morals.
Yeah.
So it's, when we're talking about leadership here, I really want to make sure it's serious stuff. My personal experience, all of it will be from my personal experiences, most of it regurgitated, things that I've learned along the way, I've heard along the way. and with my slant on it, of course, because I don't interpret things the same as everybody else does. It kind of takes me off someplace else where I may be able to apply it differently and in a different application than what it was proposed to me as. But that'll be, I don't know when, there's no date, no launch date for that, but love this stuff. Thank you for coming on the show at the last minute.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah. So thank you everybody for tuning in. We will see you next week. Same time, same bat channel. Till then, take care of each other. We'll see you next week.